I was tapping
Yes,
to that joint.
that is the best joint.
Yeah,
That I,
man.
I've been looking for a new intro, but I don't
Somebody
think
put a
I want a
countdown
new
together
intro.
for us. Sheesh.
I don't think I want a new intro. I like that joint. It got a nice little bop to it. You know what it
I
reminds me
guess.
of? You know what it reminds me of? Have you
What?
seen all these like TikTok and different dances where people are just either dancing to like "Let's Groove Tonight"? You seen them joints where they
Yeah,
hitting the little camel joint, the camelback joint,
my son
and
sends
then
me TikTok joints, but and I'll be cracking up, so it'd be funny.
no, listen, these ain't even just these joints are everywhere. Wherever, if there's YouTube, if there's Facebook, it's either that country, some country song. I don't know, like "Work All Day, you want down," dun, 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 and everybody, all these people doing these dances to the joint, and then you got the Cool and the Gang just groove tonight. You got that joint where they doing a camel hump to it. I don't know. That's what our intro sounds like to me. It sounds like the camel joint to me with people or something like that. So you know what I'm saying? We back once again, man. Back to the grill again. The grill
The grill
again.
again.
Back to the grill
Yes.
again. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of back to the grill again, famo, I was
What?
on the grill yesterday.
What grill?
Yesterday on the grill. Yeah, man. I grilled.
Cooking?
Yeah. I was on the grill yesterday, baby. I grilled some chicken and I grilled some salmon.
Mm.
Listen, that salmon was so good. Bears was coming from Alaska
What
to see if
seasoning
they
did you
could
put
get
on
some.
it?
I can't say. I cannot
What you
say.
mean you can't say,
I
man?
cannot
I
say
mean,
because I know you got a restaurant and you will take that you will take it, yeah, and put it out there on your thing. I cannot say. I'm gonna let you taste it first, and then you tell me if you know what I'm saying. I cannot say. Let me tell you something. Though. Let me tell you something about the grill. If you grill food, right? If you grill food and you gotta add sauce afterwards, it's something wrong with your grill. Listen,
or something wrong with you grilling.
one of them, one
One of
or
them.
both of them, right? You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
so.
One or both. What's up, T Dog? What's good, baby?
What up? What up? What up?
Josh, oh, that's the homie.
You
We
gonna
gonna
jump right
talk
into
about
that?
our time together.
Talk about
We
my,
gonna get
my
into
time
that.
hating, seeing those photos.
Yeah,
I was salty.
yeah, I saw that, man. Don't do that. The Lord is good, man. He got something
Hey
for you,
man, I hear you. I
But let
hear
me
you.
tell you, listen, when you cook on the grill, if people gotta add a sauce after the meat is done, it's blasphemy. It's blasphemy. If you want to add a sauce as an extra, but don't make it, you gotta put this sauce. Nah, fam. Nah, you don't have the right. You don't got the right. You need to do that dude. We be dropping them spices like that with his elbow or not. You need some of that if you're gonna do that. So I was at the grill yesterday, ate good, feel good. I still feel good. It's a bed and back sleeping, wondering if I'm gonna cook some more of that. That's how it be. But I'm the bed of this house,
I
cuzzo.
was about to
I'm the
say.
bed.
I was
You
about to
know.
say. There's only one bear around there. You ain't living out in
Yeah.
no Timbuktu. You ain't in PA.
Nah, I said, y'all got a lot of beds out there?
Oh yeah, there be bears out here, man. Yeah.
So you ever had to
And that
pull the strap out on the bed?
Nah, but listen, every time my church goes on the yearly retreat that we do, like last year I took my shotty and my handgun. You know what I'm saying?
You
So
had the
I
shotty
be
with you?
oh I had the shotty, the 12 gauge, man. Yes,
So you
sir.
was out there off
Yeah.
the Cypress Hill, sawed off shotgun, hand on the pop. Whoa,
Nah, it
whoa,
was it
hope
was
the
in the trunk in
bear
the
jumps.
whip. Hey, listen, if if yo, we're told that if a bear shows up out there, just go back inside or whatever and listen. I
Shoot, you went
I
out
will
there.
put
You came out there with
I
the
will
la la
protect the
la la la
kids. La
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 la la
la.
la. Word up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, Strack out there killing bears. Any of
Hey,
y'all with a
listen.
bear coat? You know what I'm saying? I used to have an Eddie
Not
Bauer
yet.
big polar bear coat back in the day.
Oh,
Strack can get you
okay.
one of them joints. All you gotta do, you put a
Them Eddie
request
Bauer
in.
joints was tough. Was it black or
Hey,
brown?
Slim. My joint was I had a navy blue joint.
Oh, ooh, the navy
I
blue
had the
leather.
navy blue.
Ooh,
Blue. And listen,
Yeah.
there was a point in DC where Bama's was getting robbed for them joints. I'm talking
Oh,
about,
listen, everywhere, everywhere.
yeah, bro. Them Eddie Bauer polar bear coats.
Yeah.
Woo! See, I wouldn't
The
get one now because I'm
Sherlins,
not
yo,
and
fam.
what I'm not outside enough, right? I'm not out there enough to need that. I might be out in the cold for a minute, but I'm grown. We drive up, get out, park, walk in. It's a couple minutes, baby. I don't need no big heavy coat unless I'm going to a Skins game, which we should probably talk about. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? As I'm
whatever.
going
Go
to the
ahead,
Skins
talk about
game.
it.
Yeah. What's them joint? What's some dance moves they doing? And then
I don't know, man. I know we shouldn't be bragging about either the Skins or the Birds. For real,
hey,
for
listen,
real.
but that's not how we get down, baby. We
Yeah,
allowed
you
to
right.
celebrate
You right.
victories, man. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate small victories. So look, on Sunday, I had the privilege. I got season tickets to the rest because I'm a depressed season ticket holder. Let me just say that. I'm a
Balling.
depressed. I'm a depressed season ticket holder. But one of our Patreon supporters and a friend of mine, Josh Griffiths, man, he is a Tampa Bay fan. And let me tell you what, he's a Bucks fan back when Mike Allstott won the joint. I like Mike
Yeah,
Allstott too.
he goes
Remember
back
that?
with them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I respect that. I respect fans of teams that was fans of teams when them teams was slumming. Everybody likes the winners, right? Now you
Right.
Tom Brady play. Nah, he goes back. Man, Josh can walk you through the defensive line from '01 to now, right? So he came down. I had tickets. I wanted to bless him. So he came down. He came to church, heard me preach, and then we went to the game afterwards.
Nice.
So we was at the game. Me, Josh, and my homie Josh. You know Josh, young Josh. Not
Yeah,
the one that we
man.
used to rap, but my younger, right? So we all go to the game. Josh is a Dallas fan. I let him go because he was like, it's Tom Brady. Go see the game.
Yo, hold up. That just added a whole nother element to this thing. I did
Fam,
not
this joint,
know that a Dallas fan was sitting between y'all. That's crazy
yeah.
because he's on top of the world right now. He's
Yeah, nah,
loving
he's
it.
feeling it. He's feeling himself right now.
Yeah.
He's feeling himself. He's feeling himself. And we ain't talking about masturbation. He's feeling himself, right? So, so that's not a bad word. Christians need to talk about these things. So, so, so I'm at the game. I got, I got my man Josh here, Dallas fan. Josh Griffiths over here, Bucks fan. So this shows you Grace is amazing, right?
For
Grace is
sure.
amazing. We had the Skins game together, chilling, watching Tom. Now here's where I'm torn. When I got to the game, I told him when I got there, I'm torn because Tom Brady is my fantasy QB and Chris Godwin is one of my receivers. So I wanted to win, but I wanted them to do well because we're in a
Right.
playoff hunt now in fantasy. So we get to the game. Tom Brady throws two interceptions first quarter.
Mm.
So I'm in this weird place where I'm like, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. I'm in
You
this,
was doing
I'm in this
workouts. You was doing workouts.
slim.
You ain't even know.
Slim, it was Squid Game in there, the red light, green light, Squid Game joint.
Yo.
It was like that, bro. It was like that.
Ew.
So I'm excited, but then I'm not. I'm excited. I'm like, dang, man, how do I feel? Of course I'm excited, but it's like, that's going to be negative points for Brady for me.
Right.
All of
Right.
that's going on, right? So the game is crazy, and we were in shock the whole game. Josh definitely didn't come down there expecting his team to lose. I didn't expect my team to win, and I didn't expect Tom Brady and Chris Godwin to play terrible.
Mm.
So Redskins won the game, or the Washington football team, to be politically
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, yeah. Get it right, man. Get it right.
WFT. So they won the
WUFT.
game.
What?
Yeah, WFT, not WTF. Get it right. So WFT won the game, but Tom Brady played terrible and Chris Godwin played terrible. So I lost in fantasy, and I needed that win. I lost just like I lost Strack's live face. Right now, Strack has that. He got a Colgate smile on his face.
It
Strack
looked
has a
good.
Colgate.
I was posing. I was posing.
that was how Strack would have. That's how he would have
Oh, it
looked
was this
had
way. It was
Philly
this
won.
way.
That's how Strack would have looked had Philly won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm hoping for this Philly to win, man. What's going on right now? Anyway, go
Yeah. What's
ahead.
up with
My
Ben
bad.
Simmons, man? What they saying about your boy
Yo, that
Ben?
dude, he needs to get kicked to the curb, man. They just gotta
You
pull
think
in
so?
anybody,
You
anybody,
think so?
fam. Yeah, he's not mentally there, man.
Ben
But
Simmons?
anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, I ain't mean to freeze frame on your
Nah, man.
WFT experience with Josh
Yeah.
Griffiths,
We
my
had a good
homie
time,
from
and it was good
Reading.
to hang with Josh, one of the Patreon supporters. Been a
Word
Kirk
up.
Kennedy dude. Like I bang with him, so he's a good dude, man. I like Josh, and it was cool to just hang out with him in that. He's been in my church before. We hung out, but it was cool to hang out in that atmosphere. So I tell you, Patreon supporters, see, you never know when something's gonna come your way. He got to go to the game. We had a great time. We had a great time. We had a
Word
great
up.
time.
I'm about to become a Patreon supporter just so I could get invited to a
Just so you can
game.
go to the Philly game. You know what I'm saying? You come down for the Philly game though. It's love though. You come down for the Philly game if you want that smoke. You come down for it.
Yeah, I don't know if I
You know what I'm
want
saying?
that smoke, but
You
I'll come
want
down
that?
and
You a
make
Florida?
dinner
Want y'all
with
come
y'all,
down?
make
Come
the
down.
paella.
Hey, look, come down. You on Florida? Come down. Come down. Y'all come down Sunday. We'll hit the game and then come back and eat some food. We'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I
We could
wasn't even gonna
definitely
go
do
to the
that.
Philly game, but I'll go if you come down. I'll go to the
Oh
Philly
yeah,
game
we
if you
could
come
definitely
down
do
for it.
that.
But I wasn't even gonna go to that joint because I'm like, all right, man, we not. I'm going to the Monday night game against Seattle, and then I'm going to the Dallas game. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And then I was like, but I'll go to the Philly joint. I ain't going to the Giants game because unless something's like, oh, if we win this game, we go to the playoffs. I ain't going. I ain't tripping.
Right. That's a far chance, but okay.
That's a fun. But that's what we thought last season too. We won the division.
You're right.
Hi,
You're right.
Toyana Church. I'm telling you, it was just like that. I don't even know how that song goes. I hope I'm not
Is
offending
that
nobody.
a
I'm
Squid
just
Game joint? Is that what that's
so
from?
listen. So Squid Game is like it's I think it's Korean. I think it's Korean. So
Japan.
they
Are they in
sung
Japan?
Japan. Is Japan?
One of
I
them.
don't
One of
know.
them joints. I don't
It's
know.
it's an Asian joint, right? So they sung. I watched it in with the English subtitles. You know how you do it with the. So that's the part that's crazy because
Oh, so you didn't
you
watch
know
it with them talking English?
I did. We did. I watched it. I watched it talking English.
Okay, that's what
I
I
watched it
did.
talking
Yeah, that's what
English.
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. I did like that. So that joint's always funny because the people would be like this. So do you think you're going to try?
You think
I
you
don't
will
know.
win red like green light? No,
We
you
should go
shall
that
not.
way. Right. It's always that. So I love that joint. So sometimes I'm like, man, what do they really sound like? Because you wonder if this. It must be hard to do subtitles, bro.
Right, right.
It must be hard to like get the sound right. Oh no! I mean, it must be hard to
It
like
takes
get all the
extra
expressions
acting.
right.
Extra acting.
I'm gonna find out, man. We gonna Google what does it take to work to be a subtitlist. We
Right.
gonna do that, right? So that joint, so that joint was good. It was a good time. All right, man. I've been thinking about this, and I got some impressions. I haven't done impressions in a long time. In season one, Tone Stallone, man, he had some impressions that was crazy. Tone Stallone hit Buster Rhymes, incredible. In
He
season
did
one, he
used to
was
kill busters. Yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah,
he
for sure.
killed Buster Rhymes and Toast, and he killed that dude, that boxer, that dude. A man is not the
Oh
man.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
that dude
yeah.
Eubanks? Something
What's his
Eubanks.
name? Yeah, yeah. Carl Eubank. Yes, yes. Carl
Something
Eubanks or something like
Eubanks.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Carl
I
Eubanks.
remember.
That sounds like a dude who used to do The Price is Right or something. I don't know
Nah,
who.
he's
What his
listen.
name is.
He was a good
He's a
fighter
boxer,
though.
though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
nah. But he talked like a Mike. He talked like Mike Tyson with the lisp with the English accent. A man
But he
is
sounded like he
not
could
a
be your
man.
butler.
Yeah, right. He sounded like
Yeah,
Nelson Mandela for real a little bit. So he used to hit them joints crazy. I mean, he used to have me dying laughing because he was good at it. So I want
yeah.
to do a couple of impressions. I'm not as good as that, but I got a couple. I know you got any impressions? Do you do any impressions?
Man, I don't do no impressions, man.
Oh man, you weak,
No
bro.
impressions.
I got a
None.
couple impressions. So I'm gonna do one based on what's happening right now in the culture. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna do an impression of the evangelical church waiting for the Ahmaud Arbery verdict or the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict or both. All right. So I'm gonna do an impression. This is my impression. Here's my impression of the evangelical church waiting for the verdict of Ahmaud Arbery or or Kyle Rittenhouse. Here's my impression.
Wally Coyote.
Ready for it to blow. That's my impression. The evangelical church is waiting for it to blow and pop off. Dynamite in hand, ready to fight. That's my impression, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. That's my first impression. You know what I'm saying?
You would have messed
Now I'm
around
gonna
and
do
had me trying to do some kind of impressions, and then you would have just posted that image. That'd have been foul.
nah, yeah, I know I would have. But
I'm
now
just
I'm
saying.
gonna do a real one. I gotta do some impressions though, bro. I'm on my game right now. I'm gonna do some impressions. You know who Michael McDonald is, the singer? Michael
No.
McDonald from the Doobie Brothers. You don't know me, but I'm your bro. Remember that song? I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. You don't know that joint?
Yeah. It was a
That
little bit
dude?
off tune, but yeah, I remember that joint.
Right. Of course, man. I mean, I ain't Michael McDonald, you know. But I'm gonna give you listen. I'm gonna give you Michael McDonald singing worship songs. All right, you know Michael McDonald got that big, heavy, breathy voice,
Hmm.
right? Here's Michael McDonald singing "All I Have Is Christ." Here we go. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm getting ready to hit that joint. Michael McDonald singing "All I Have Is Christ." Here we go. Hallelujah. All I have is Christ. Hallelujah. Jesus is my life. That's it, baby. That's it, baby. Telling you, listen.
Yeah, I
I
kind of
need
feel like you might have been impersonating me though, and my face froze up again. I definitely feel like
telling
you
you,
was
man.
impersonating me.
That's what. Listen, that's I once was lost in darkest night.
Darkest
That's Michael McDonald.
night.
That's Michael McDonald. Boy, he be killing them things. That dude. But that
That's
joint, I keep
crazy.
forgetting we're not in love anymore. That's the joint.
Anymore. Yeah.
Joint. That's Michael McDonald if he got saved, singing "All I Have Is Christ." That's what we doing right now. I'm
You did a
telling you
pretty
right
good
now.
Biggie impression on that one track you had on the last project, though.
Oh yeah. I can't do that
That was
right now.
decent.
I can't do Biggie. I can't do Biggie yet. You know, not I did. That was a good one on the opening track. All right, here we go. Last impression. This is it. I'm on my game right now. Last impression. This is Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. All right. Dr. Claw, Inspector Gadget. Dr. Claw. Gadget. I want Gadget. Gadget.
Yo, they laughing in the background. Was that your wife was
My
laughing?
wife laughing. My wife is laughing in the background. I got the door closed, and my wife
Bet
is
she's
laughing.
cracking up. See,
She's
that's
dying
because you be
laughing.
doing that to her. You be doing that to her. You call her gadget, ain't?
Yeah. Gadget. That's how I be. Hello, Chief. That's how he be, right? I'm telling you,
Yo,
listen,
Inspector Gadget was ill though.
I'm doing. Expect the Gadget was crazy show, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm singing Sunday like Michael McDonald. It is well with my soul. I'm going like that all Sunday. That's it. Michael McDonald just got saved, ladies and gentlemen. Michael McDonald. All right, let's talk NBA. Listen,
Yo.
I don't know if y'all been paying attention. I usually don't even watch the NBA this early because I'm too engulfed in fantasy football and um, Washington Redskins. I'm sorry, Washington football team. So I don't usually pay, but I've been watching the NBA lately, and fam, I'm gonna say something that I've said before, but I'm gonna say it again. I think I think Steph Curry will go down in history as a much more better player and a game changer than LeBron James. Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's already
Let me
calls
tell
for
you
him
why.
to be considered the best point guard in NBA history.
Let
That's a
me tell
big.
you
That's a
why.
big one right there. That's over
It's a
Magic
big
and
one.
like Isaiah Thomas.
Let me tell you why though, bruv. Bruv, let me tell you why. When here's what makes here's why one of the reasons we talked about this last season why Michael Jordan is better to me, is considered the GOAT more than LeBron. LeBron's a phenomenal player. So I'm not one of them old head dudes who's holding on to the past. He's a phenomenal player, right? LeBron is phenomenal.
He is.
But when Michael Jordan came, Michael Jordan changed the game. It was a big man's game. He made people want to play the two guard. Michael Jordan made people want to be 6'6", man. Like you just if you were 6'5", you almost as tall as Jordan. If you were 6'7", 6'8", a little bit. People wanted to be this Bama. He made a height attractive, right? He wanted to, and then all the other things he did. LeBron comes phenom, straight out of high school,
For sure.
6'7", 6'8", phenom. More like a someone of like a Magic Johnson meets Karl Malone, right?
I mean, the world has been watching him play since he was like 14, fam. 14,
Yeah,
15. Like,
phenom. LeBron's a
yeah.
phenom. We give him that. But LeBron didn't really change the game though. Kobe Bryant, phenom, but he didn't change the game. He just basically took Jordan's game. LeBron kind of had more of a sort of like a Sean Kemp / Magic Johnson combo where he could bring the ball up, he could pass, but he'll go coast to coast and dunk. Right. In later years, he developed a jumper, and that was that. But he was a good. But he did. But Steph Curry, bro, Steph Curry made the whole world want to shoot threes, fam. Like
Yeah.
this Steph Curry, ladies and gentlemen, Steph Curry has the finger of God, bro. I don't know when the Lord made Steph Curry. Listen. We're gonna go ahead and make his right hand. His right hand is gonna be ordained. That joint has got a rhema attached to it. I'm watching this Bama do trick shots in the NBA, coming down the court, doing the splits in the air with his legs like he did a guitar joint strum. Whack up,
Yeah.
pulling up,
Yeah.
pump faking, stepping back, whack. Like I've never. I mean, this dude has made everyone want to shoot 3-pointers. The 3-point stock rose like what they say, what 497% in basketball when he came in, bro. He
Yeah. I
just
mean,
made that joint look effortless.
back in the time of Jordan, like you was saying, the 3-pointer wasn't even considered that special. That was like buzzer beater status. That was pretty
Right,
much it. It was just to give
right.
you an edge. Nowadays, the 3-pointer is celebrated like the dunk. You know what I'm saying?
Slim.
When cats shoot a 3-pointer and it splashes, they got the
Yeah.
signs they throw up. They got like all kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff they do. You know what I mean?
And a lot of stuff you do. Think of all the movements. Bama's be like this. They be like this. All the look fake
Mm-hmm.
me out gang signs. Fam, you
Mm-hmm.
ain't in no gang. You grew up privileged. This is just a three. That's his way of saying
That's
three,
just a
whatever.
three.
Three.
That's just a three.
That's just a
And then
three.
they'll use it and throw it out there like it's satanic signs. And I mean it is a satanic symbol, but it's not used that way in the
Right.
NBA as a 3-point
Nah,
shot.
man, man, everybody's worried about everything, man. Signs and
Right.
wonders, and like, get out of here, man. Signs and wonders isn't a gang sign, fam. It's a different sign when the Bible's talking about signs and wonders. I don't care, man. These people just do. But I think when I'm watching Steph Curry, it's like, fam. This is why, like, I'm one of those people that like Tom Brady. I like greatness, bro. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Tom
I feel
Brady and
you.
them lost to the Giants, I was blown because I wanted to see greatness. I wanted to see them go 17-0 or whatever. Like
Right.
I like greatness. Like I don't mind that. I don't mind like if they win again, I like greatness. I like seeing it.
You like
So
seeing people achieve things that normal people can't.
I
Yeah, I
like
feel
seeing
you.
people who are really good at something do it. You
Yeah, I hear
know?
you. I hear you.
So like when I just watch him play, bro, like whenever go, I find myself like, man, I need to watch this joint. So I might be watching it, working on doing something else, working on a song or editing photos, but I just want to watch it because I just love watching them play, bro. I haven't
For
felt like
sure.
that in a while. And I feel like that about some other players too, but I think he has the finger of God, man. So all right, so what you been listening to, Struck? Anything holding you down music wise? What you listening to?
I was just checking out that Joel Ortiz joint. It's all right. I
How is
mean,
that
it's not
joint?
like
How is I had
I so I respect Joel Ortiz as a lyricist.
right,
I think he's capable of standing with the best of them. You know what I mean, lyrically.
right. Yeah.
But I don't think
When
his
did he drop?
album
When did he
was.
drop that?
It was earlier this year, maybe a few months ago, maybe two
Okay.
months ago, top somewhere around there. It's called the
Fam,
Autograph.
so many albums dropped this year, bro.
Yeah, a lot of albums.
Like
Yeah,
if
a lot of
Kendrick
albums.
drops this year, if Kendrick Lamar drops before the year's out, this will be like a monumental year for hip hop.
It's a
So
lot of
many other
albums.
great other heavyweights dropped, and along with a
Yeah.
bunch of other people. You
Because I
know,
think
I mean, a lot of
what I appreciate about Joel Ortiz is like he really hasn't gotten the recognition that a lot of artists have gotten in the game. And
yeah,
I mean, also, being Hispanic, I can relate to him. Like I feel the vibe. I feel where he comes from. I think a lot of the things he struggles with as far as the industry is concerned, I can relate to what he's dealing with. Obviously on a different level.
sure,
But
right.
I get him though. I understand where he's coming from, and I appreciate somebody just throwing on the beat and just spitting, just for the sake of
Yeah.
spitting. Just
Hmm.
enjoying rhyming and flowing on the beat. And I think he did that. I don't think this album is gonna go down as a classic or anything like that, but it was encouraging for me because it sounds similar to the vein that I'm in right now. So I was
Right.
cool with it. Yeah,
That's
I
always
appreciate
good,
that.
right? When you have
Yeah,
something that is that you can really be inspired by and write
yeah,
in. So
yeah.
that's what's up.
I mean, he
So
just
tell
letting
us about
beats play and he just spitting. So
right.
that's fun.
So what's the vein that you in right now though?
I'm very much in that vein, just spitting on some
Spitting.
old school heavy boom bap type, beats. Like I got the joint dropping with Doctrinal soon. The warm ups precede the workouts. I'm excited about that joint, man. It's got that
When's that
nice.
dropping?
I don't got a date yet. I just sent the files to Kev today, actually. So Kev will get the files.
Ah,
Yeah, he's wrapping up. He's wrapping up your joint, so he should be able to do
yeah,
mine soon.
yeah. I
Hopefully
got
it'll
one
be
more
done by
session. I got one more session Tuesday night, and then
word,
once I finish that session, he'll finish those, and then I'm gonna upload them, and then go ahead and start shooting the videos and stuff that I need to shoot. So
word.
uh,
Yeah. So
that's what's up.
as soon as I know he got the files and he confirms it, then I'll post the album cover and I'll keep on trucking, man. I just honestly like I'm looking forward to working the Wolverine. And in the meantime, I'm just writing over beats, man. Just give
Right.
me some beats and I'll spit. You know what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
tell
Like
you right now, the Wolverine is gonna be. I got you. I got you somewhere else. You gonna leave Earth. The
word,
Wolverine. I got beats for you that are just ridiculous. And over
word,
time, I just been collecting. I'm like, you know what? Let's keep this. Let's keep this. Let's
tuck
keep
it.
this. I got them. So when we sit down, you got like 40 beats to be like, all right, here's the joints I
Hey,
like. And there's a couple that I'm like, I want you to hit this one. But there's a couple, man. The Wolverine gonna be tough. I can't wait to how you do that joint. The Wolverine
yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
ready.
tough. So yes, a lot of
I think
albums.
people gonna like this joint, man.
Yeah,
People
the
gonna
warm
like
ups
this
joint.
joint with
Yeah,
Doctrinal. Oh yeah, yeah, they gonna
yeah.
like this joint.
Now,
I
is
did
it
some special
Doctrinal
touch ups.
beats or you and him rapping?
Nah, it's just Doctrinal beats and me rapping.
Okay.
I do have him on a feature on one song. He does about 12 bars because the idea was for him to battle MC Goya. So I don't know if, for most people who don't know, uh,
That's dope though.
Doctrinal is Goya. Goya is like his
Right,
alter ego. So they
right.
battle, and there's a confrontation that goes on, and it's a fun song, man. It's a dope
Right.
track. It's
How many
dealing with
songs can
the
we expect?
7 songs on this joint. It's just seven
Okay, right.
songs.
The EP. Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. It's like an
You don't give
EP
them
type
too
joint.
much because when the Wolverine hit that joint, come on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
And I'm,
joint is
I'm I'm
gonna
working
do what
on an
it
eight
do.
track joint with Will too right now with the apologist.
That's what's
So
up. That's what's
yep.
up. Yeah, so a lot of albums came out. Donda Deluxe came out, had a couple of new joints on there. The Life of the Party with Andre 3000 was on that joint and some other
Mm,
songs. I mean, since I heard that song already quite a bit, I was like, all right, cool. It was like
right.
the deluxe joint. But I think now, personally, listening to Donda now after seeing the Drink Champs interviews, I just hear it differently.
Really?
And because yeah, I do. Because
Messed it up
I
for you?
think it does, man. Yeah, it does. To be honest, like I didn't watch the full. I didn't watch part two of the Drink Champs interview. I watched it, but then about at some point, to be honest, I just got tired of hearing Kanye talk, man. I
Mm,
just got tired of like hearing him just talk. Like sometimes you get to a point where you just like, man, I don't even want to just hush your mouth up. You know, I was
right.
just like, all right, I just don't even feel like listening to this dude talk for another hour and a half and go on like a tangent and say all this stuff, talk about God a little bit, and then all. I just didn't feel like listening. So when I
It
heard it,
is
I was like, all right,
interesting.
cool.
It's interesting hearing somebody with that much money talk though.
It
Like
is interesting,
they
yeah.
they view life differently. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Hmm.
got billions of dollars. You don't get up in the morning thinking, "What am I going to do today?" Like it's whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, it is different. It's different. Nah, it is
So
different. So listening to that, man. So I'm hoping Kendrick drops because that's like the artist that for me I get the most creative drive from. But I'm almost done with my project. I was hoping that he dropped, within the last couple months, so I could just pivot off of like just gravitate, get creativity from his energy.
right,
And but he didn't drop, so I just was like, all right, I'm doing what I gotta do. But another album that dropped was Chris Jones' Note to
note to
Self.
self.
Let's have a real conversation about the project. Look, Chris Jones is the homie, and we love his brother. I think he's a solid brother, both on the mic, on the beats. Chris Jones got a few joints for me on Serial Killer Smiling Pictures. He got a few. What I love about Chris, for me personally, is I can say, look, Chris, here's my idea. I want you to do this, this, and this, and see if you can give me this, this, and this, and he'll deliver. Bam. Take
Yeah,
this sample, and I want it. Bam. Chris will just come with it. So I was excited. And I had heard some of his album. He'll send me music. We'll send each other stuff here and there and be like, what you think? So I'd heard it. But Note to Self dropped about a week and a half ago on a quiet tip.
yes.
Chris is kind of a low key dude. On the quiet, Note to Self drop, which is his latest edition. He's got Manos, some other projects. He did one on the Trinity, some stuff like that. But he got this project drop. So I want to get your thoughts, man. What do you think of Note to Self?
I love that joint, but Chris is my label mate, so I'm going
So
to
you
support whatever he
biased?
does.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm definitely biased, but I'm actually trying to pull it up right now on my iTunes joint. I think I'll wait on that. But yeah, man. Listen, you know what Chris brings to Christ centric is a level of versatility that I don't think
yeah,
all of us have, like the rest of us have.
right.
Chris is able to maneuver in all kinds of different styles, and I like to say that I'm able to also, but I think Chris does it at a different level. Like he's able to bang with the southern dudes, bang with the trap dudes, bang with the boom bap dudes. All the
Yeah,
influences he's able to pull in and work into his own style, which is cool. So I think you
hmm
see that in this project. I think you see all the different styles that Chris is able to dive into, and he's very personal. He's exposing a lot of the stuff that he's wrestled with COVID-19,
yeah,
watching the church, watching the church deal with it the way we have. He's just very. He even talks about wrestling with some of the things he had to wrestle with and becoming a pastor, which is
yeah.
cool. It's just it's real good to get a real down to earth perspective from somebody who's in the trenches, and I think
hmm
that's what Chris does in this project. He delivers a nice
hmm
perspective from Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? Like how often do we hear
Right.
from
Yeah.
dudes from Kentucky,
Right. Yeah.
dropping rhymes? Yet here we go. And it's a
Yeah.
well done project, man.
I think one of the things that for me personally, one thing that I love to listen to Chris talk about is his commentary on race
Hmm.
because Chris is married to a white woman. He's got what, four daughters
I
in
believe
Kentucky.
so. Yep.
In Kentucky, like he's in a place where, like, you're not welcome around here, boy. Like he's in a place where that could come out, and so I think he gets
It's Trump
overlooked.
country.
Yeah, it's Trump country. Yeah, but I think he gets overlooked because on that issue in particular, because he has no choice but to stay balanced, right? Because his wife is white, his daughters are biracial. So I really appreciate his perspective because I try to stay balanced, but I don't have that's an actual, and I'm gonna use this word, and this isn't what Chris would say, but when you're interracially married, black and white in particular, there's a level of baggage that comes with that. Even in this day and age, it's far more accepted. People do it, but there's a level of baggage. So like if you black, sorry fam, but you can't really talk about black issues because your wife is white.
Right.
Or like
Right. You sold out.
if you yeah, right. You got jungle fever, as they used to say back in the 90s when Spike
Right.
Lee put the movie out, right? So there's a lot of it, but I appreciate his perspective. When I listen to his project, what I realized, like, like whatever you call CHH, I personally like to use biblical worldview music, but for the sake of knowability, we'll say CHH. I think you need Chris Jones type artists, man. You
Oh yeah.
need that. We need like distract the boom bap. Like let's get it. You need the Kirk Kennedys, like let's expose the culture. Let's pull back the curtain and go deep on what we're seeing. You need the KBs. Let's just anthem and let's get lit for the Lord. Let's turn up for God. You need that. You need the Lecrae, the sort of like the cultural philosopher that believes in God and sort of. You need the Andy Minios, the kind of introspective but also anthem type thing. You need those types, and I feel like you need the Chris Joneses. You need that
Definitely.
calm, introspective music of struggle, real struggle in real
Transparency.
times over be like you just need that. You need that.
Yep.
And I think we don't have a lot of that now. It's a lot of just wild stuff out there. So I enjoyed the project, man. There's gonna be more songs that stand out than others. But I think Note to Self is a project that anybody who likes CHH should get the project and at least check
Yeah.
it out. Even
Yeah,
if
for
you don't
sure.
feel like I'm gonna go back and listen to whatever it is, everybody's different. I think when I'm working on an album, I can't listen to nobody's stuff too much because I'm in a lane. I'll hear stuff and I like it. So I was riding out in Chicago pumping this joint. Like I was like, all right, I'm in Chicago. Let me blast Note to Self. You know what I'm saying? Riding around listening to the joint, and there's some bangers on that joint. There's some
Yeah,
bangers.
man.
But I think what I appreciate the most is there's an introspective perspective on the joint that I think is that. So I like it. Like for me, when I'm writing, I want music that's going to appeal to me to want to create that way.
Yep.
So um, I liked his music for that, but I had heard some of it, so I was a little bit like, okay, some of the stuff I've already heard, so it wasn't like fresh to me, all of it. But there was enough of it. I was like, okay, this is a quality album. So shouts, man, go pick up Note to Self. It is
Yes.
on. It's everywhere. Note to Self is on iTunes. You can download it, but this is what I would say. Some people do this, and I appreciate it. When you download, like for the small artists, right? Downloading that music doesn't really do a lot for them for us. But when you buy it, download it and buy it, like that does a lot. Like it's only $10. It's 9.99.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing that you don't spend. You get that at Starbucks or for breakfast somewhere or for dinner. That's nothing. So support that brother, man. And I think you'll be blessed by the project. I think you'll like it.
I agree.
All right, let's get into this. What a travesty. What a travesty. Man, we talked about this last episode, the Travis Scott fiasco. And if we were talking about boxing, then it would be pun intended when I say the hits keep on coming, right?
For sure.
So, if for many of you don't know, Travis Scott, big secular artist, had a concert called Astrofest, where at this point 10 people have died, and there was a lot of talk about it was a satanic ritual. Depending on who you ask, I mean, even non-Christians were saying that, which we talked about a little bit last week. The media
Look
now
like it to me.
Yeah, the media now is pushing back, saying no, it wasn't a satanic ritual. It was this and that. Of course, right? Of course, you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
But I thought so. So in this situation, so Travis Scott now there's 125 different people suing the festival. All right, 125 different people. Fam, so far the amount now it doesn't mean these people are going to win this amount, right? But we know 10 people died. Some people are going to get some bread. The total amount so far is
Man.
$750 million.
Yeah. I get, yo.
700.
Who's he with? He's with Kylie, right? Kylie Jenner. I think that's who he's with. Either
Yeah,
way,
he is. Yeah,
she's a billionaire. He better tap
yeah.
on Shorty Wop. Like, yo, fam, I
But listen,
need
when
you
people say,
right
"Oh, she's
quick.
a billionaire," she's a billionaire. Here's the thing about that, right? Yes, but it's like it's not like she got a billion in cash. It's all spread out all over the place, right?
Yeah, net
So
worth.
she don't
It's
got
net
she
worth.
don't got access to like $1 billion. But and Travis and Kanye said, "Man, you copied me, man. I don't even know if they on speaking terms right now." So you ain't getting. But it's not. But they're not
Yeah,
just suing him. They're suing Drake. They're suing Apple
everybody.
Music. They're suing Live Nation.
Yep.
Everyone who was a part, who everyone who stood to make money from the concert is now being sued, and it's up to $750 million, bro. That
It's a
is
lot of money.
crazy. That's crazy. 10 people have died. A couple of them killed. It's just crazy, bro. It's just like. But you know what though? The tragedy. I'm not going. This might sound weird. I'm glad that the exposure that's happening as a result of the disposure of the negativity of these things, and really the character of some of these people, right? Because these people have, like we talked about last week, there is I still and we're going to flush out why I think this is, but there's just a moral authority given. I actually saw a clip of him at a concert 2 years ago. I guess he jumped in the crowd to crowd surf, right? Someone took his shoe. So we got up and was like, hey, hey. Like, he's in the crowd, tons of people. You want to be a thief? You want to take my shoe? And he used the F bomb and said, F him up. Like he told the crowd, like, beat this dude up. And people started wailing on the dude, right?
Hmm.
Because he tried to take his shoe off. Fam, you are a super celebrity rap artist. People want some memorabilia from you. Of course they're gonna try to take, but you're gonna tell people to harm the dude. I mean, and it's not speculation. I saw the clip. So again, like this idea where if you're popular, you have moral authority over me is really the real issue. But we talked about that last week, and that's going to come up again in our time. But 750 million, and it's having impact. So Drake has a new song with French Montana that's about to drop on French Montana's album, but Drake pulled the song. Drake asked the song not to come out because he feels like it's too, like, out of respect for what's happening for the loss of life. He doesn't want to release new music right now.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting because he is one of the people being sued. I thought it was really, really interesting to see this play out. And I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Sadly, in our culture, we live in such a soundbite society that pretty soon it's going to be long and forgotten. And Travis Scott will release another album and people are going to buy it. He may not do a concert next year. He might lay low on that tip, but people are going to get past it, bro. It's a soundbite society. And if it was a satanic ritual, well, then Satan is going to make sure that stuff keeps happening, keeps going. People always are sensitive when things happen for a period of time, but then that joint's a wrap. It's a wrap.
It's funny, the whole like, oh, it's not a satanic ritual, but all the symbolism, all the things used look real satanic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not supposed to call a dog, basically. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, come on, get out of here with all that. This is just it's just nonsense. Whether he's satanic or not, he definitely was playing off of the satanic intrigue.
All
You
the
know what I'm
vibes were
saying?
there. Yeah.
All the vibes were there. I don't care if he
All the
is or
vibes were there.
not. It don't matter
Mm-hmm.
if he is or not. He did everything possible to make it feel like a satanic ritual. He
Mm-hmm.
had all the things possible. Like even the tunnel to hell. Like what the world? See you on the other side. Like come
Yeah.
on,
The
man.
end is
It's
only the
just
beginning. His T-shirt had like people going through all that stuff, man. It's like you're not fooling nobody, fam.
nah, you're not fooling nobody.
Nah, you're not. And
You're
even
not.
non-believers can see that. So
Yeah.
I hope there are appropriate consequences for that. And then I hope people buy Note to Self, your album,
Word
and
up.
Serial Killer Smiling Pictures. Ha ha. You
Did
only
you
know
see
Travis Scott?
did you see that Adele joint? The
Nah,
Adele
uh-uh.
jump off on, I think it's on Netflix. It might be on Hulu. It's like a
Nah, like an
concert, but
interview?
it was nah, it was a
Oh,
concert, but it was a concert slash interview slash documentary, whatever the case may be. Oprah's hosting
right.
it. Adele's doing a concert for big wave celebs, and they're at the observatorium outside of Hollywood that kind of looks over Hollywood, and
Yeah.
she's rocking this black dress. Like wifey was pointing out, it looked like a church service. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
She's singing, that song, "Hello from the Other Side,"
Yeah,
that
right, right,
joint,
right.
and she's doing like the "Hello from the Other," like all of this.
She was
Like
doing the symbols?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, like, what is going on here? But hello from the other side. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what are they doing? What do you?
But once
People
you
can
do
act.
stuff like this, then that song has a
I
totally different meaning
mean,
then.
it's a, come on. You got the concert by Travis Scott that says "See you on the other side," and then she's doing this, concert at the Observatorium outside of Hollywood with all these big wig celebs, and she's singing "Hello from the Other Side" and throwing up these little Satan horn signs. Like, come on, man. I don't. I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but I do see it when I see it. Stop fronting. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it ain't even a conspiracy though. Like demonic, man.
It's too
Yeah, man. We gonna get
obvious. It's
into
too
that. It's
obvious.
obvious. Like we're not even talking to conspiracy. A
Nah.
conspiracy is something that's not obvious. We're not even talking about
Right, right.
conspiracies at this point,
But
man.
they call things like that conspiracy whether there's a shred of evidence or not. They just call it
100. Yeah,
conspiracy because of what it's tied to.
one hundred
But yeah.
percent. No, that's real. That's crazy, bro. that is crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
What you been
But I do
told.
know though. When y'all hear serial killing pictures, y'all gonna know though. Y'all
Word
gonna
up.
hear all that smoke, all that. All right, newsflash. Just in the Ahmaud
Justin.
Arbery case. So have you? How much have you? I know, right? We need that. We need that newsflash. Dun, 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 dun. We need that. Oh, by the way, listen. If you're listening on the audio version, we appreciate y'all. Go to Kirk Kennedy's Corner on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, bro. I forgot to tell you
Yes.
this, man. We got over 100 subscribers. Dun, dun, dun,
Hey,
dun,
oh,
dun,
that's a
dun,
that's
dun,
a big
dun,
applauser.
dun, dun,
We're gonna have to add the
dun,
clap in on
dun,
that
dun.
joint.
You know what I'm
Word
saying?
up.
Dancing, 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 dun, 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 dancing machine. So we got over 100. So small beginnings, cool
For
runnings.
sure.
These Bambas learn how to bobsled in Jamaica.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the ride. Get on up. It's bobsled time. That was that jump off, John
That was
Candy.
crazy.
Yep.
Listen. So listen, man. If you're watching, if you're streaming live on Facebook, thank you. Go to YouTube. Look up Kirk Kennedy's Corner. Subscribe to the channel. We got plenty of stuff coming. We slowly rolling some stuff out. We in the early
We be on
phases.
the
We gonna change
corner.
some things, do some things. But we in the corner. We on the corner. We on the block. We been ready to
Word
spin the
up.
block. All that, right?
Word
All right,
up.
let's talk about Arbery. Have you been following this case at all? How much do you know? Now, remember who Ahmaud Arbery was, right?
Of course I do. Yes, I do. But you want to fill
Yeah,
in the
let's.
people just so that they can
Yeah, so
remember?
if you don't know, Ahmaud Arbery is a skinnier version of me. Same hair, all that, without the.
I think Josh
So
is a skinnier version of you, actually. I
he
don't think
is actually, yeah.
Aubrey is.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Josh. So my Arbery was he was killed by three men, two a dad, a son, and someone else. He was running down the street, and this is in Mississippi. I think this is
I don't remember
Mississippi.
where it was at. Yeah.
Can't remember where, man. I'm losing. But so he was shot and killed. So he was the first of sort of the black people that really went viral last year. So he was shot. It was Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and then George Floyd was
Hmm.
sort of. And then you had the Amy.
Very close though. Very close in
They were all
proximity. Like
close,
they,
all
yeah,
close.
very close.
What made Ahmaud Arbery's case unique was that his mother was told that he broke into a house and was shot and killed in the
Right.
act of a robbery.
Right.
And then some guy released the footage. The guy who was with them, who's actually been charged, released some cell phone footage that he had that showed a completely different story.
And that
So
was
this
like
he
months
died
later, right?
3 months later.
3
He
months.
died
Yeah.
in February, and then early May is when all this hit the fan. Like, wait a minute, whoa! They told us it was this. So there was a big conspiracy, right?
Yeah, that
At
was a
that.
big
So
deal.
that was a big deal. So he was basically running. These guys were in a truck. They kind of pulled him over, like, and then they pulled out a shotgun, and then and they were trying to stop him. They were under the impression that he had broke into a house, all that
Right.
stuff. So you can Google the details and figure out all of that. So his trial is on right now, which I think is ironic that it's happening at the same time Kyle Rittenhouse is.
Yeah, because
Like I
Rittenhouse is getting way more attention.
Yeah, and that's because he's white. Rittenhouse is a 17-year-old white dude So he's getting more attention. We just and listen,
Yo, the
we
whole
cross
desk,
examine.
everything shook when you hit
That's right.
the
I want to make
joint,
sure you know
like,
he's
and
look
that's
at it. Let's
because
pay attention.
he's white.
Look at that. Make sure you see that he's white. So Kyle Rittenhouse and they're at the same time. So fun fact about the Ahmaud Arbery case. Fun fact: 2 days ago, the defense attorney for the guys who killed Ahmaud Arbery said in the courtroom to the judge that, that I'm paraphrasing, but they should ban black pastors from coming into the courthouse.
Yo, when you told me that, that was so wild.
Fam,
That is crazy. What was he?
do you
What world was he living in? Where was he
let
at
me
that he
let
thought
me tell
he
you
could
where he
say
was at.
that?
Let me tell you where he was at. He thinks I'm in Mississippi, and he forgets that they might be a little bit backwards down there. For shouts to the people who listen from Mississippi, but I know there's some of y'all that are like in the back parts of Mississippi. I ain't really caught up with what's going on yet. There's this thing called the internet and cell phones and things and media, and whatever you say over here gets broadcast way over there. So I think this dude thought he was like, let me just make this point because we in Mississippi and it's our courthouse and we can say this. And you didn't realize that Bama's was going to take that
Nah.
clip, post it, and go online. So I would be surprised if he makes it out of the courtroom. He
How old
asked
is
that there
that dude?
no black pastor, huh?
Is he an older
How old?
dude? Does he look older? Yeah.
I think so. I think so. I mean, he doesn't look like 30 or nothing. I think he's an older
So
dude.
like
So
white
I
dude
just
in
think
his 50s,
could be
something
a
like
good
that,
old
maybe.
boy from back in the day,
Uh-huh.
type of
Okay.
dude. So who knows? I don't know enough about him to really know. I don't really care. I thought it was crazy that
That's
he
wild.
said that in 2021 in a case like that one, like Ahmaud
Yeah,
Arbery's
that's
case.
wild.
You know it's going to get some measure of national attention. And
That is
this
so
Bama
wild.
said, "Can we get black?" So Jesse Jackson did a press conference, and he's got Parkinson's, right? So he doesn't do
Does
a
he?
lot of public appearance. Yeah, Jesse Jackson does not do a lot of public
Wow,
appearance.
I
He has
didn't know that.
Parkinson's. So he was talking, you could tell he wasn't if you haven't seen him for a while, you could tell it's affecting him.
Hmm.
So he he basically said, I'm gonna get 100 pastors to come out here because Al Sharpton's down there and all that stuff. Now I personally don't bang with them dudes. I don't bang with
Nah,
Al
for sure.
Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and them. I wouldn't want them dudes nowhere near if something happened to me and my family. They just don't.
None at all.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, nah.
I don't bang with them folks at all. So, but they down there. So that dude might have saw them and was like, man, let's get these black pastors from away from here for the trial. But here's the thing though. Here's the thing about this. Let me tell you why this trial is going to be interesting. Let me tell you why the Ahmaud Arbery verdict. Because the prosecution is already rested. They was like, look, this is
Really?
open and shut for us. Yeah, they done. The prosecution is done. They're like, this is open and shut to us.
It should be.
They done. Mm-hmm. They done. Here's why it could not be. And this is why I think the timing of both of these cases is more than ironic, right?
Hmm.
The jury for Ahmaud Arbery is 11 white people. So 11 of the 12
Wow.
people are white. so so here's the thing, right? The reason why you shaking your head and the reason why a lot of pastors are going down there that are black, it's really just because of a lack of
Wow.
trust in the justice system historically, right? Yeah, what about OJ? That's one of millions of people who got smoked, right? So I don't know what that means. Them peoples might not. Who knows? I'm not saying it's just the historically the odds would be forever in your favor if you were the boys who shot Ahmaud Arbery. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, but that trial, I got them convict. I don't see how you can get around convicting them. No, they've just said some like one of the dudes, I think his name is Travis. He said in the courtroom that he's trained as a soldier to understand it, like to like come in and stop a threat, de-escalate all of it. So the prosecution was like, well, then why didn't you do that?
Right.
Like if you're trained to do that, you should have looked at him and known he didn't have a weapon. He was running away from you, not towards you. He
Right.
wasn't carrying anything like any furniture or nothing that you could.
The only
So why
time
did
he
so
attacked is when he felt like he couldn't get by.
he
He was
couldn't get
like,
by because you yeah couldn't get by, and so it's
I mean, you gonna shoot me in
fascinating,
the back or you gonna shoot me in the front? I'm gonna battle you.
right?
We gonna fight, so you gonna
I'd
have to
much
shoot
rather
me in
have
the
you shoot me
front.
in the front. I mean,
Real
in that
rap.
situation, shoot me in the front. I'm not getting shot in my back.
Yeah, no, no, no.
I'm
We're
not
fighting. I'm gonna
dying
try to
facing
get that
away from
from
you.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
I'm
did exactly what most of us would have done. You
any
know
of
what I
us would
mean?
do that.
Like, it's
Any of us
crazy.
would do that. I don't. I find it. I don't think there's not a lot of people talking about that because I think a lot of people believe that's going to be open and shut. So, but I'm paying attention. It'd be interesting because I would imagine within a couple days, probably before Thanksgiving, that verdict will be done. But the story of stories and the case that the almost it seems like the world is paying attention to is 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, I have seen much conversation, banter back and forth over this situation about this dude. How much have you paid attention to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial?
The most attention I've paid to it was since you told me we were doing the episode on it,
That's right.
because for
You
real,
starting to
I
get like Tone
really
Stallone, not paying attention to the culture, and
nah. Listen,
then
I
you
pay
like,
attention to the culture, but I'm just not. To me, it was kind of an open and shut thing for me as well. I mean,
I agree. Both of these trials have been crazy to
from a
watch
legal
this past week.
perspective, yeah, from a legal perspective. But before I get into my opinion, we can keep moving.
Yeah, no. So, no, I just want to know what you think, like how much you pay attention, what you think about it. There's some interesting things about this trial that I think, and that I think, especially the way the culture is paying attention to it. Like,
Right.
like one thing I don't know if everybody knows this. I think people do, but the fever pitch of this particular trial and the way people are talking about it and going back and forth over it, and what will happen if he doesn't. Like, I hope people remember Kyle Rittenhouse killed two white people. He didn't even kill two black people, right?
Yo,
So I
Florida
just
didn't even know. I said that to Florida today. I was like, babe, he just all this is over him killing some white people. I mean, mind
yes,
you, there should be some, killing anybody, period.
sure, 100%.
But just the uproar that it's causing and the way it's kind of tied to the whole BLM movement and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he killed white people.
Because
Like it was a white
because
dude
it was
killing white people.
yeah, it was a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin,
Of
over
course.
Jacob Blake, a black man who was shot by police. Now,
Right.
I mean, listen, we cross examine, we say what we think, so we're gonna continue in that vein. The Jacob Blake situation, I don't know if you remember, that was wild. Police show
Hmm.
up. This dude's arguing with a girl. The report that they, what I heard the report they got was that there was a sexual assault case. This dude has priors of that.
Is that the
They
joint where he
told him
walked around, where he walked back
walked
around
around
the
the
car?
car.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and they said put your hands up. He walked away from them, walked around the car, opened the front door, and reached into the car,
Right.
and then they shot him. I'm gonna keep it a thou wow with you. If I was that police officer, and I told a dude, put your hands up so I could detain him and cuff him, and he walks away from me, walks around to his car, opens the door, right? I'm thinking of my wife,
Hmm.
my three sons, friends like you, loved ones,
Hmm.
my church, and the real reality that I have no idea what he's going to do when he opens that door.
Facts.
I would have
Yeah.
shot him too, bro. I would
I
have
don't even think
shot
he
him.
shot him right away though. They were kind of
Now they
tussling in the
waited a little bit
car,
because
like he
like,
was.
he had a
Yeah.
knife. The bit
Yeah.
like I don't. So on one level, like I think people are tripping about some of the outrage. Like, what do you expect? This is not like these police are not RoboCop, fam, where they can I
Right.
assess the situation and pinpoint, shoot the knife out of his hand, shoot like the back of his ankle so that he falls down and you could easily detain him. Like, man, these
Yeah.
people are human beings, fam. There's no
Yeah.
way that if you would have walked around to the other side of the car, I would have shot you too. Because I'm going home tonight. If it's
Ain't
between
that
me and you and your I'm going home tonight. You know what I'm
It's
saying? Like
wild
I
how
don't.
people. It's wild how people really think that as an officer you could just pull out and shoot a cat in his leg like 15 feet away. You're trained to shoot midsection because that's
Right.
the biggest target. So
Uh
you
huh.
hit that target, you don't have to worry about stray bullets hitting anybody else. You hit midsection, and
Mm-hmm.
midsection is lethal. You know, that's just the way it is. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
holding a weapon and you get shot, I mean, what do you think is gonna happen? There was a dude
I
down
just
here
think
in
it's.
Lank that pulled out a knife on a cop, and he was chasing, and the cop ran from him. And the cop is
Mm-hmm.
like continuing to run. Eventually, he just pulls out and shoots back and hit the dude and killed him. He was
Mm-hmm.
chasing him with a knife.
Right. I don't understand that, bro. I
People was
get
like,
that
"Oh, he
there's
should have
a.
shot him in the leg. He should have shot a
Oh
warning
man,
shot." Like, where are you doing a warning shot when dude is 10 feet away from you with a knife running
with a
towards you?
knife.
Like, fam,
With a
that's
knife.
not
Like I just
nah.
think I think we live in such a. You know why I think people think that we live in such a Call of Duty Fortnite
Yeah,
world where you just have time to take your gun, zoom it in, and then
right,
and then aim for the
right,
head, aim for. I think people just you know this is where we headed over the course of the show this season, but
for
this is
sure.
this virtual world, bro,
Yep,
where
yep.
like violence is virtual and it's so you can do all this on Fortnite, so you just think like the cops should be able to shoot a dude in this particular way, but this isn't Fortnite, fam. Like this is real. And that goes even to Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, young, on one level, this Bama is walking around with an assault rifle, an AR 15. He's holding it the way a soldier would when it's like when he's ready to like pick up and like shoot. People aren't thinking, oh, that's a chubby faced 17-year-old boy right there. What you
Nah.
see is a big gun, fam.
Yeah, that's
A
all
big
you see.
gun.
That's all I would
That's
see.
that's all I
I
would have
don't
saw
care who's
is a
holding it. That's all I'm seeing. Like real
is a
rap.
big gun, right?
Yeah.
And so like we just live in such a world where violence is so virtual that I think people almost laugh at it and don't take it serious when it's actual, when it's factual, when it's real. Like violence isn't virtual, you know, it's real, you know. VR stands for violence reality. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
but that's the
I
culture
was
we live
trying to
in. So
think of
you can
something. I was trying to think of something for that V word. You got
mhm.
me. Violence reality. Violent reality.
You
Yeah.
you know that's what I do, you know. But so I just think in all of this. So as I'm looking at this case. There's a lot to the Rittenhouse case, but I'm not. To be honest with you, bro, you know who I am, right? I'm not really worried about all the facts of the case. I honestly don't care if he gets acquitted or if he gets convicted. I think some of the charges he definitely ain't gonna be convicted of. I just definitely think so. But he might get some manslaughter, maybe some reckless endangerment. I personally don't care. You know what's fascinating to me is how much some believers are seeing this as a must defend justice issue.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching some believers, and typically I'd say it's probably more conservative. It's more the Second Amendment right, folks. I'm watching so much of this be about a justice issue that you got to care about. So that's one side, right? Then the other side of it is making Kyle Rittenhouse a hero. Okay. I don't know if I think, listen, I read this article by David French and he put this very well. Kyle Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old foolish kid, right? But he's not on trial for wisdom. He's on trial for murder. I think that the evidence seems to point to there was real self defense there. No question. Now, him being there and not and having been in all the that was stupid. That was foolish of him to go to a major dangerous civil unrest situation at 17 who had only done some target shooting on some cans with his buddy in a field to go into that environment and expect to make a difference. I don't know what you were thinking. but he's not on trial for the decision to go, but was it self-defense or not when he actually shot someone? All right. I'm not going to get in. I haven't watched that much of the trial, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really care. I care about some of the things that are surrounding the trial and perspectives, particularly that I see the church doing. And there's two things for me. One, that there seems to be in some people's minds, some believers' minds, that this is a significant justice issue that needs to be defended, right? And then two, on the other side, is making a 17-year-old foolish kid a hero,
Hmm.
like making him be someone that we support and stand behind. Now, remember what we just said about the virtual reality world that we live in. You make this kid a hero for actually not just going to stop and help in a situation. The Bama killed two people and injured one. You make him a hero, then you have other kids following his footsteps. So to me, these are the two biggest concerns when I watch it. Whether he's guilty or innocent, I'll just be honest, I don't really care. I don't have any emotional connection to it. And the reason why I'm concerned is so you notice a couple of days ago, I posted this on Facebook. This was all I posted. This is what I said. I just asked a question. And here was the question that I asked on Facebook. I just said this. Can someone, this was 3 days ago, I said, can someone clue me in? Why are believers arguing over Kyle Rittenhouse again? It was just, why are believers arguing over the case? Not should we care about it, should you not, all of that, right? Why are we, at now I have 126 comments on it, right?
Yo, that's crazy.
The majority of the comments initially were attacking me. They were attacking me as if I'm trying to, by even asking the question, I'm making a statement about what I think and believe about justice.
Hmm.
I wanted to say, hush your whole mouth up,
The whole
but I didn't.
mouth.
Your whole mouth, not the corner, not even half, not two-face, the whole boca. Silencio la boca. I just
Cállate
want
la
you to
boca.
listen. What are you talking about, fam? So I'm talking about believers arguing over the case, not if some people should care about it. So as I'm looking at this and I'm paying attention, so I said, let me find out what's going on with this case. Let me pay attention. You got the Ahmaud Arbery right there. You got this right there. All this going on. I'm hearing all these people. This is the church, and I'm thinking to myself, why is this a must defend justice issue? Right? Why is it a must defend justice issue? And a couple of things came out as I look at what people posted, articles I'm reading, all of it. This is a American justice. It's a political issue. This is not a biblical issue.
Hmm.
This is not a biblical issue of justice. This is a American justice issue. And as we've said before, there are plenty of believers who mix American morality with biblical morality, right? So before we get into this, let me say one thing so that we know. The Second Amendment is not the second commandment. All right, let's be clear. The Second Amendment is not in the Bible. Don't say, well, Jesus told him to take a couple of swords, and that's the biblical version of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and all of that. That's an American reality. Christians in other countries don't even have the concept of that because their governmental system doesn't allow for it. What believers are arguing over is an American justice. It's not a biblical justice. So don't hold me or other Christians to the fire for needing to be invested emotionally on a particular side Three people got killed, or two people and one injured. That's somebody, whether you think they should have been, whatever they were doing, that's still somebody's family. They're gone. Kyle Rittenhouse still alive. People got killed. This ain't just no, this is not just that. So there's a lot more to be said, but I want to hear what your thoughts are as you exploring the case. But there's a lot of other things that I realized as I'm really watching how believers, I'm not talking about political pundits. I ain't talking about Fox News or CNN. I ain't talking about Don Lemon versus the five on Fox. I'm just talking about how believers are interacting. It's like, wow, you would think that they're saying Christians are going to be punished if they share the gospel the way some people are acting. This isn't a biblical justice issue. So, what have you seen, Streck, as you're processing it?
Um, I don't know that I've seen the same thing that you've seen, as
Mm-hmm.
far as believers going back and forth. But I know that it's real because it happens with
Mm-hmm.
everything else.
Yeah.
Um,
People say that to me, and people have to understand. Like, I have almost 5,000 friends on the Kurt Allen Facebook.
right.
I have almost 5,000 friends. So when you befriend someone, you also can see whatever they post. When people say, "Where do you see that?" I don't see that. I'm like, "Fam, you have 318 people that you follow, friends on Facebook. I have almost 5,000. So just by default, I got 25 times, 20, almost 20 times more volume. So I hate when people say they're like, "Oh, if I don't see it, then it's not happening." It's like, fam, your world is small. I'm not making stuff up. Like I'm not that invested in it to make it. So anyway,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
I
I
know
don't think
you're not saying that. I just say
Yeah,
other
I don't
people
think
have said
you.
that to me. Like,
I don't think you even need to make that case because this is something that would spark arguments and intrigue
mm-hmm.
regardless. This is just the way it is. It's the way America functions. Whenever it comes to law and skin color, this is always going to be a hot topic.
Always right.
Always. So when I look at the Rittenhouse case, I have some mixed emotions. Um,
Mm.
Obviously, as American citizens, we have the right to bear arms. So, was he doing something wrong in the eyes of the Constitution, in the eyes of America? Um, well, in the eyes of right wing America, in carrying an AR-15? No, he wasn't. He wasn't doing anything legally wrong, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The law is stupid though that a kid that young can carry. That's a dumb law, but that's a different conversation.
it's a different convo. It is. It is a different
Yeah.
convo. Um, it's tough, man, because we can venture into all different kind of topics discussing this convo. But I know one thing: if I show up with a bat in a large crowd, immediately I'm gonna be looked at as someone who is bringing problems.
A threat,
Like let's
right?
I'm gonna be looked at as a threat if I show up with a bat in a crowd of people. And nobody's walking around with bats. That's just the way it's gonna be seen. And I think that's the case here. I think I think he was viewed as a threat, whether it was
Yeah.
right to view him as a threat or not. I think some people viewed him as a threat.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Would he have viewed the people that were there as a threat? Sure, he probably viewed people there as a threat as well, which is why he was going there to supposedly secure a building and make sure nobody broke into it or whatever the case may be. But man, you got to use wisdom, man. I don't think this young kid, obviously he didn't use wisdom going there. He had hopes and dreams of becoming either a cop or a firefighter or someone in some type of capacity of authority and service to the community. Do I think his intentions were well? Sure. If I was to just go off of his statements, I think his intentions were good. He wanted to go down there
Mm-hmm.
and help people. He had been training all his life to do so, to do this type of work, but
Mm-hmm.
he jumped prematurely. He tried to do it prematurely,
What
and
they used to say was it on Dave Chappelle's show when keeping it real goes wrong?
that's pretty much it. Yeah,
That's exactly what this
yeah,
was. When keeping it
yeah. We'll
real
keep.
goes wrong, bro.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it was. At the same time, was he attacked? Was his life in danger? Yes. Did
Sure.
he do right in using the weapon he had to defend himself? Sure. I think anybody who has a weapon on them at the time that they're being attacked and they use it is properly, defending themselves.
Hmm.
So again, it just comes back to what makes this case complicated is the people that are critiquing it, not the case itself. You know,
Right. Well said.
the people
You
who are
can't handle
looking
the
at it,
truth.
yeah, the people who are looking at it from the outside are the ones making this case complicated. And I think, yeah, there's a whole lot more to say when it comes to those who were influencing his life, as a
Yeah.
young man, and people,
Yeah.
speaking into his life. Where were they at? What did they say? Did they have any say in any of it? Because he is 17. We know 17-year-olds can be super hard headed. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Yeah.
I don't care how innocent of a young man he's being painted as. 17-year-olds can be mad hard headed. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
gonna do what they want to do and what they think is right to do anyway. That's just the typical character of a 17-year-old. So he may be the exception, and he may have done everything right here. I don't know, but I think he overstepped his boundaries. I think as a 17-year-old kid,
100.
he overstepped, and he did add to what came about, what the consequences were. Whether
Yeah.
he ignited it or not. The reality is a 17-year-old being there with an AR-15, wound up with two people dead and one seriously injured. So
Well, especially in a very volatile, like, bro, I wouldn't, as a grown man who's from the streets, I
yeah.
wouldn't go into a violent protest armed and expect there to be no consequences.
Nah, there would have to be serious reasons for me to go there. I would have
It
to
would
be
have
having
to
a
be serious
yeah,
reasons, right?
yeah.
You don't
Like my
just go
business,
into an
my
armed
wife, and
joint.
and and even if there's a riot breaking out in Lancaster, I'm not going to like stand in front of floors with a gun. Like that
Right,
property don't mean to me more than the person's life who will break the window. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
that's just that some people might think that's weird. I'll go board the windows up, but in all honesty, I think the Lord has graciously brought me to a level of maturity where a life means more to me than my restaurant.
To your
That
property,
I
right? Yeah.
than my property. You know what I mean? Like that's
Well,
just the
that's well said.
reality. Yeah. So I mean, if someone attacks my wife, I'm gonna protect my wife. At the expense of
One
their
hundred
own life,
percent.
maybe.
Yeah.
But that's not the
Well,
same
who's this?
thing.
I mean, if they do that to me, the Lord sent you to see him. Then
You know what I mean?
I'm the
Like
vessel
just
in which I'm the pathway to that. Because if you come that
yeah.
way, I'm not turning the other cheek. You
But it's
attacking my
different with
family, so
property. It's different
it
with
is different with
property.
property.
It's like I got a if I got my wallet, dude points a gun at me. They're like, "Yo, give me my wallet." I'm gonna give him my wallet.
It's yours. It's
Take
yours.
the wallet, fam. Don't make me pull my gun out. Take the wallet
Right.
and be out.
And
You know what I'm
go.
saying? Like, yeah,
You must
real
really
rap.
need it.
Yeah, more than
So
I
one of the
do.
things that you know what this made me think about watching a lot of believers go back and forth. Remember at the conference earlier this year with Vody, the Christ verse
Yes,
culture, Christ greater than culture too. Remember that? Of course we remember, right?
hmm
And remember the moment where it got tense between me and Vody,
of course.
right? Remember the moment. The question that I was answering when Vody cut me off and said I was slandering the church, which Vody, you still owe me an apology for that, bro. We took our episode down. You owe me an apology for that because Charles Spurgeon said worse than that. But anyway, when he said I was slandering the church, the question that I was answering, the question that you asked was, why are Christians drawn to social justice? Right? And my answer was, I think Christians are drawn to social justice because the church historically hasn't presented a robust view of biblical justice. And many people in the church historically allowed themselves to basically assume the justice that America as a nation was presenting, which allowed for the defrauding of Africans in slavery, treatment of women, different cultures, right? There's just been this, and Vody got offended. And if he would have hushed his mouth up and would have let me finish what I was trying to say, I would have explained that Christians are confused about what biblical justice is because when America was formed as a nation, the church ceded a lot of its authority morally to the federal government, to the governmental entity of the time. And justice became defined by the American system, not the biblical. It may have people may have said it was founded on biblical principles, but the application of those of that justice was very sinful, right?
Yeah.
So you have and then you think about a lot of the people aren't even believers, right?
Right.
We're Christian, we're so weak in knowing who a believer is that we think deism is theism, right? We think people who said one nation under God, indivisible, that is somehow Christian, right? So the church in the founding of America ceded the definition of justice, which is which is synonymous with righteousness, all those things, right? Biblically speaking. So there hasn't been a real serious treatment of biblical justice unless you just say, well, the abolitionist movement or the people who spoke about this got it right, right? Okay, that's an aspect. But the overwhelming majority of the church submitted to an American governmental understanding and application of justice. And that justice allowed for slavery, mistreatment of different nationalities. Even if you were white, class systems, poor, rich, it wasn't rooted in the biblical justice. Biblical justice is going to look more like the golden rule, right? Matthew 7:12. So whatever you wish others would do to you, do also to them. Biblical justice is going to care about the imago Dei, right? It's going to care about people are made in the image of God and need to be treated with a degree of respect, and not just respect, but the law that God required. If you want to take the Ten Commandments, that's biblical justice. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Don't bear false witness. Don't do all these things, right? These make up, but that got lost in the shuffle because America was so focused on its creation, its separation from from England, and then it's deciding who it's going to be as a nation, that the idea of justice just became about what does it mean to be an American, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Justice, biblically speaking, has common grace considered, sure, right? We know that non-Christians care about things that um, that are connected to them being made in the image of God. It's not like all non-Christians don't care about goodness. And I mean, you got, most of the people who were firemen and police department that ran into the 9/11 building, the World Trade Center, were non-Christians, right? So there's a degree in which believers understand these things. But for the church, biblical justice looks more like James saying, look, if anyone thinks he is religious without controlling his tongue, his religion is useless. Pure and undefiled religion before God the Father is to look after orphans and widows, right, in their distress. It doesn't say orphans and widows of believers. It
Right.
just said orphans and widows, right? So those would have been the most marginalized people in society. But American justice created orphans and widows. You created them by slavery. You killed men. You took children and sold them off and called that was just cause. It was, and this is justice. You locked up people because of their skin color, because they don't have enough money, with vagrancy laws and stuff. And all these things happen that you call justice. And so the church didn't stand up. Not that there weren't any, but the larger majority of the church did not come together collectively. Sure, there were pockets of believers that fought against it, but you had more smoke coming from like Charles Spurgeon across the water than you did. So I'm saying all this to say there's never been a real clear understanding of biblical justice that I personally can point to that is described and applied in American history, right? There's some justice. Sure, there are laws and different things, but those laws weren't imago Dei justice. They weren't biblical because they only served to a certain group of people, white men mostly, white landowners actually, not even just white men, white people who own property. So the church so now you have a confusion about what justice is because biblically speaking, bro, justice, the command for justice is not a secular system of justice. That's not
Right.
what God's talking about. Now, don't get me wrong. We got Romans 13, submit to the governing authorities. First Peter 2, honor the emperor, right? We have some of those things. But the idea of justice is not, biblically speaking, is not submit to a secular system of justice. It's Spike Lee's first movie, Do the Right Thing, right? It's you do justice to other people, especially so that's Galatians 6:10. As we have opportunity, do good to everyone, especially those in the household of faith. Right?
Right.
So do good to everyone, but when it comes to believers, you make sure that you do good to those folks, right?
Yeah.
We never really had that. As a conglomerate. Sure, there were pockets, right? But you have a submitting to the governing authorities and honoring the emperor in their understanding of justice, and the church let that go. The church seceded that. So now
Right.
it makes total sense to me, bro, why believers don't even know what biblical justice is. And whether you like Vodi Bakum or not, his book Fault Lines did not give a clear understanding of biblical justice. Most of these guys will say that's social justice and that's not biblical. And then you don't give biblical justice. You can't quote Deuteronomy 18 and say this is what fam, justice has to start with Jesus Christ. You got to start with, when you want to talk about biblical justice, first you start with the justice on the cross and the way Jesus, what he did with people. He fulfilled justice, right? If we're going to start with justice, we have to look at his fulfillment, Jesus Christ. So, how did he interact with people? Even though he was sent for the Jews, he saved the Gentiles. He provided food for these people. He did these things for these people,
He is
right?
just and the justifier.
So when we're talking about justice, we got to start with those kind of practicalities. But America and Christians in America have always looked to the government as the definition of righteousness, justice. The definition of, so they define good and evil. Let's create laws, and then
That's
and
so
even when,
crazy to me.
but that's what's happened. And so I don't understand. So now what you have is confusion over what justice is biblically, and people are offended. Woke this, woke that, and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of woke stuff that's woke that I don't bang with. I don't bang with a lot of it, but not all of that stuff was sinful. Not all of it was bad. I personally think that God used Black Lives Matter, a secular Marxist organization, to make some headway and bring attention to some current injustices, not because they were right, but to shame those who claim to be righteous. That's what I think. I think they for you can say what you want about them, and I don't bang with them, but they brought the conversation to the forefront and forced laws to be made and reconsidered, and it to be on people's minds, the plight of people who have been here for hundreds of years. Second longest, third longest group of people. Now, are they do they honor the Lord? No. But God uses evil all the time, right? He uses evil for his benefit, and he uses that to work it out. I think that's what Black Lives Matter was. It brought attention to a country that prides itself on its ability to know and believe and live for God, and you fight over the stupidest things. So now what we're seeing is, with all this theology that we out, all this access, Strizzy, we got access. We can watch any sermon from any teacher who posted online. We can get all
Everywhere.
this good teaching everywhere. We got access. I got Logos. I got access to all this stuff digitally, libraries and all of it. And the church is still confused about what biblical justice is. Why? Because we've allowed ourselves, without even paying attention, to let non-Christians define justice for us. And that's why we're so political. Because
Mm.
missiology, mission has become create laws that impose what we think is best from God's word on people and then hold them to that.
Mm.
So we treat the non-Christian world like they're disobedient believers, and these people don't know Jesus. So let's create laws that they're not going to like because these laws go against their natural inclination. A lot of justice has been done through the government and not the church, so that the church can hide behind the government and hide behind it politically. So then when these
Yeah.
situations come up, now it's a justice issue. No, brother, this is a
Yeah.
political issue. This is
Isn't
a
that what always happens though? Is I mean, as far as like confusing or muddying the waters with Christian thought, it's always allowing the outside thought, allowing the outside voices to have more influence than they should.
100%. Yeah.
That's how we confuse the message of the Lord. I mean, that's how we
Right. And my
confuse
point
God's
is
word.
like, and it's my point. Let's be real about it. And let's not
Right.
pretend like these issues are somehow on the level of biblical justice issues. Let's be
Right.
real about it. Just say, you know what? We don't know how to apply justice in a culture like this. Just be honest. Stop lying and pretending like this book is not this, and let's read this book and let's go after these people. Listen, if you really care about America, right, then you have to accept the values that America stands on. We said this before. American morality is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So if you really care about America, this is your country, we stand by the values of America, we want to take back our, then you have to care about all demonstrations of the pursuit of happiness that are legal. So you have to care about LGBT, Black Lives Matter, Democrats, Republicans, white supremacists. All that stuff is freedom of speech. All that
Pursuing
stuff
their
is free to do
happiness.
this.
Mm.
They're pursuing happiness. But see what happens is we think, and this is why we think, oh, that though that's this is the confusion. That's Christian. No, it's not Christian. Christianity says life, liberty, and the pursuit of holiness, sometimes at the expense of what you would consider happiness. Because I was happy in sin, right? There were times I enjoyed getting high, enjoyed having sex. I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed shooting and getting into drama when we needed to. I wasn't like, oh man, I really wish my life was better. I was like, this is us. This is what we do. That was happiness. That wasn't holiness at all. But again, that's why I think Christians don't really realize, what are you saying, fam? If you really are about America and this is the country that you, cool, but you have to accept the values of America. You have to accept the justice of America. And I think what God is doing is saying, you cannot serve two masters. But instead of people paying attention and being like, you know what, we might be tripping actually right now. We should no, it's still flesh and blood, right? It's them, it's the Dems, it's the
Yeah, I think
Republicans, it's the
it's the confusing of the two utopias. I mean, the
100%.
the confusion
Sure,
of
there's a confusion that
America.
one is actually a utopia. It's not
Yeah,
America's not a utopia. It's not a
exactly. That's a
utopia.
well, it's a
It's not.
utopia on this side of eternity. I mean, for
It's a
most,
utopia compared to some other countries. It's not a
it's what's
utopia compared to the Bible.
it's what's been painted as
Yeah.
success.
Right. Yeah.
It's been the most successful experiment as a nation is concerned in history.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the
Mm-hmm.
confusion of the two. I can't lose what I have right now. I
Right.
have all these benefits as an American. You
Right.
cannot take these from me because if you do, you're stripping what I've joined together with the foundation of my faith.
Right.
Like
Right.
this
And here's
life,
what
this
Jesus says. What does Jesus say about that, though, right? Set your mind on things above.
Amen. He does.
He said,
He
look,
does.
listen, think about this for a second. Jesus stood before Pilate in John 18, and he said, are you a king or not? What did Jesus say? My kingdom is not of this world.
Right.
If
Right.
it were of this world, my servants would what? Will
They
fight.
would stand up and fight. Yeah. Yeah.
And what do Christians do now? Fight. Right?
Right.
Why? Because to a lot of Christians, evangelicals, the kingdom is of this world. We need to protect American democracy. But yet the church is blowing up in Iran right now, in an Islamic country, in China. The church is on fire over there under
Right.
extreme persecution. American Christianity avoids persecution and balks at it. We have no confidence. We cannot say
You know,
definitively that the Lord
it's
is trying to
crazy.
protect American democracy.
No, I mean, I would think we would be crazy to make that argument and say that we can find that argument in scripture that the Lord is trying to protect American democracy somehow.
Some believers act like he is. Like they're like, we got to fight back, take back our country. For what? From what though?
Yeah.
What? Because I'm afraid of losing the comforts and that's what this is what it's really about. This is the real
But
battle.
the thing is though, even uh, it's almost like people have taken on the theology of a Peter that was called Satan. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like you have
Mm.
Peter standing up saying, "No, you can't go to a cross. Like you can't die." And Jesus responds by saying, "Get behind me, Satan." And then but that's the argument everybody is upholding today. We
Right.
can't
Yeah.
go to a cross. We can't
Yeah.
die. We can't
Mhm.
lay down our
We can't
lives.
suffer. We
We
can't
can't
suffer.
suffer. We
This is
can't.
why people love America, because what America
Yeah,
promises that you won't suffer. You
that's
will
true.
suffer in
That's
your
true.
country, but not in America. But
It's
yet
wild though
America
because
imposed suffering on millions of people, right?
right, and it's the same America that would align itself at least throughout history, not today, obviously, not within the last maybe even 20 years, but
Yeah.
throughout history, America would align itself with biblical principles.
Right.
And yet here we are looking at the scriptures which say you must suffer many tribulations to enter the kingdom of heaven,
Right.
and America which says this is where you pursue happiness.
100%. And we
Who
noticed
do you
from when we
go
noticed
ahead?
from the episode we did last season when we talked about the growth of sort of this movement by that pastor out in LA who basically started with you frozen by the way.
I got
Let
you.
it go. Let it go. So like this so that pastor out of church out in LA who kind of started this recruiting. Remember that they would have these preaching contests to
Yeah,
see who could promote
yeah.
basically capitalism. Let's make capital. So again, the church has not been very discerning in many ways. Many in the church, a lot of pastors, and have bought into America as God's country, and not really looked and said, "Wait a minute, if this is God's country, we are not doing real well right now. This is a
Hmm.
crazy joint right now." But
Right.
you've ignored all of that because you compare yourself to other. Let me tell you something. If Christians compared themselves to scripture instead of each other or other countries, we would be in a different place right now.
Hmm.
We'd be in a different place. But when I compare I'm always going to think I'm better than someone. I'm
Right.
always going to, and that's why we're going to stay confused on what justice is, and Christians are going to sin against each other and the Lord. And I think some of them are going to end up proving that they're not Christians in the first place, because I think we minimize love as if it's an optional thing. Like God
You
says
know,
clearly, if you don't love your brother whom you have seen, then you don't love God whom you haven't. And there are going to be a
as
lot
you
of people who are going to be like, I don't know you because I don't know.
even
I
at
know what you did.
right as you're talking right now, I'm thinking about it, and Christian. It almost seems like United States Christians that live in America, have taken on a works based salvation in this regard.
Mm,
So, what
mm,
I mean by that is this: we look at Old Testament scriptures, we see Israel as a nation, and we see the Lord Jesus, we see God, Yeshua as the God of Israel, the God of that nation.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it almost feels like, and I know we've talked about this before, but America has taken on this identity as the nation of God in itself in today's time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But The Lord doesn't work that way anymore. Like,
Mm-mm.
he
Mm-mm.
doesn't work with one specific nation. Jesus abolished
Mm.
that. Jesus
Right.
came and opened the door for all people, right? So that meant that there was not a single nation that the people of God would find themselves residing in that they could hold up to the Lord and say, "Look, but I'm a part of this nation." We can't do that with America.
Right.
We can't hold
Mm.
it up and say, "Look, but I'm a part of this nation." As Christians, we either hold up the banner of Christ and say, "I'm covered in the blood," or we're covered in nothing but
Mm-hmm.
mud.
Right.
Real rap.
Yeah.
Like, we're
All
just
right.
covered in America. And that's a dirty thing to be covered by. Real
Mm-hmm.
rap.
And some people will get offended at that, and that proves the point. It's like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
American justice is constitutional. It's not biblical, though.
Right. That's a
It's
fact.
constitutional. It's not biblical. And so when you look at all the arguments over biblical justice, it's like, okay, I'm not saying don't have an opinion about or thinking that Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't go to prison or Ahmaud. I'm not saying you have to have an opinion that's one way.
Right.
What I'm saying is we have to put reality in perspective and think, why am I so pressed? Like, don't get me wrong, I love my country. I
Yeah,
grew
me
up
too.
here. I've traveled. I've been enough places to know what other countries are like.
Yeah, I'm
I've
a proud
traveled.
American.
I don't want to live nowhere else, to be
Nah.
honest. I wouldn't want to live rich somewhere else other than America. I'd be rich in another country. Well, actually, maybe not that true about that, but that's a different conversation.
It depends. It
But
depends on what
it
country.
depends on what country and all that. You know what I'm saying? It depends. You know what I'm saying? They got to have a couple things there to make sure it's good. You'd be flying over prime rib and stuff. That's a different conversation. We could move somewhere, open up the floors over there and kill it, but we wouldn't, because we
Word
would
up.
need it if we were rich. That's not a helpful conversation right now. But but I but my thing is I don't love my country so much that I won't critique it, and I don't love it so much that I confuse what America is biblically and what my allegiance is to. Like my allegiance is not to the red,
Yeah.
white, and blue. My
It don't
allegiance is
consume that
just
much of your identity.
no.
Right.
It's not my identity,
Right.
and Jesus doesn't command that. He says, "Look, my kingdom is not of this world,"
Right.
and he says, "Look, set your mind on things above." Where your treasure, where your set your heart, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
That's right.
So this is
That's
what
right.
this is what I'm saying. Like this shows you to me the greatest concern of all of this. And listen, I'm not saying I got it all figured out. I got issues. We're all finding our way. We're all trying to honor the Lord. Some of us see some things that others don't. Some of us are better than have more made more progress in areas. I'm not talking like I got it figured out. But what I can say is that I feel like I have a from the Lord a clear perspective. It's not full, but it's clear on the deception that is happening among believers and
Right.
the foolishness that many of us, not all, are acting as if what happens to the nation of America is equivalent to what's happening to the kingdom of God. And
Yo,
that's
that's
just not
so
the
far
case.
off. Yo, that's so
It's
far
not the
off.
case. Like if you honestly
Yeah.
think that like don't get me wrong, like I prefer capitalism. But like, what scripture verse says Marxism and socialism are sinful? There are Christians all over the world, bro, who live under those economic systems, and they're godlier than many of the Christians over here who have all the freedoms that they don't. Freedom is not the goal for the Christian in the congressional or socioeconomic sense. That's not what we're. Freedom is biblically speaking is I don't have to have my confidence or trust in the horizontal world that I live in.
Right.
Freedom is to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions. Freedom is to say if this whole thing falls apart, all I have is Christ, right?
Yo, freedom is whatever the system is. If man is involved, it's gonna be jacked up. But thank God I have Jesus.
That's
That's
it. That's it.
that's freedom.
Yeah.
Word up.
Freedom is the end of Revelation. Revelation
Word up.
21:7. I will wipe every tear from their eye. I will
Amen. Amen.
That's freedom. Like that's my confidence. My confidence is not in the conservative party and whoever. My confidence is not in the Democrat. My and I think, like, why are believers, after a couple hundred years of being a nation, we
Mm.
have no legacy, no historical legacy of pure, unadulterated, clearly honoring the Lord, except a brief stint with Dwight D. Eisenhower in the 50s. He was the one that brought the God language. He was the first one to dub America a Christian nation. That came in the 50s. That wasn't what America was saying back then. He was the one that dubbed it that. That was in the 50s when Eisenhower became president. He was the one that went to a Presbyterian church and all this stuff and started having these prayer breakfasts. He started all of that. That was just 70 years ago, fam. So in many ways, I don't see why. I mean, I'm grateful for our nation and I don't want to be in it, but I don't look at America and its definition of justice, righteousness, all of this as biblical. I look at them as, I mean, we're essentially taking our cues from people who don't have the spirit. We're taking our cues on how to honor the Lord from people who don't know him.
Right.
It's like, fam, imagine somebody walking up to you and saying, "Hey, bro, you got a minute? Strike, you got a minute? Hey, what's up, man? Hey, listen, man, I was thinking about, I just want to tell you some ways I think you could benefit. You could like serve Flora some specific things that," and you would be like, "Do you know her? Nah, not really. We've never met, but I can tell you some ways that she would bet." You would be like, "Fam, where's the strap?" You'd be like, 50, man, get this strap. Like, man, like, how you gonna tell me how to love and serve my wife? You never even met this woman. You don't even know what she likes or her dislikes are. You go, and it's like that's what it's like. You're telling me as a non-Christian how I'm supposed to honor the Lord, and you don't know him.
Right.
And so we're taking our cues on righteousness and morality from politicians, and we're saying it's from the Bible, and it's like, nah, because it's from the Bible. My moral character is not gonna. I'm not gonna consistently let that step out of line for some circumstantial realities. The moral realities supersede circumstantial ones. So
Word.
if America crumbles and becomes a so whatever people's greatest fear is, all I have, hallelujah, Michael McDonald all the way, right? All I have is Christ. Listen, if America falls, we have Jesus. But you tell Americans that, and it's like you're telling them like to have hope and nothing. And it's like, nah, God is exposing the reality. The reason why we don't know what Christian biblical justice is because we've never really pursued it or applied it.
Hmm.
So we can just say what it isn't, but we can't say how to do it. We can only say that's not it, but you can't tell me what it is. And that's the saddest part to me about this whole thing. So like that's why I did this on purpose, right? I said here's my imitation of the evangelical church. Here's my imitation right here of them. Waiting for Ahmaud Arbery or Kyle Rittenhouse so that they can explode and talk about the left, the right, the this, and I'm gonna stay in the middle.
Hmm.
I'm not I'm gonna stay because it's just ridiculous to me, bro. I think it's fascinating. We don't even know what justice is, fam, because we've taken our cues from people who don't know God's way of justice. That's why there are more orphans and widows and homeless than ever before, bro.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a country where in the last 10 years, um, we know, I think we talked about this before. Um, Antidepressants have quadrupled in America.
Hmm.
Antidepressants, the sale of in the last 10 years. Do you know in the same span of time, depression has risen 900%? And
Wow.
my numbers may be slightly off. My numbers may be off, but you can Google this. This is all real fact. In fact, get a book called I wasn't prepared. I'm shooting. I didn't think about it. I'll tell them next time. It just basically you get all these people taking antidepressants, but more people are clinically depressed than ever before in history. It's just buying into Our treasure's not above, man. Our treasure's not above. And so when you watch how passionate believers are about these cases. Like, young, you don't even know Kyle Rittenhouse for real.
Right.
You know, that boy might shoot your dog, and then what? You know, might shoot. You don't know him, and it's like, so it is, man. It's going to continue to be this way. It's not going to. I just think it's going. The Lord's just doing the work. I don't think it's about. I think the Lord is Ephesians 5:11, exposing the deeds of darkness, and I think
Always.
that's what we're going. That's what we're going to deal with. So welcome. The American dream is an eternal nightmare, and that's part of the problem. But
It can
what
be
can
for
we
some.
do? We just podcasters. What do we know? You know what I'm saying? What do we know? I'm just a rapper. What do we know?
But I know one thing: if you show up to a crowd of people with an AR-15, you expecting something to pop off,
Expect to get your head clumped. Cause the
or
dude, for real,
or
for the
I
dude
mean, if I
came at
show
him
up
with
with
a
an
skateboard
AR-15,
too.
ain't nobody head clumping me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm
Well, he
showing up
almost got
over
his
there
head clumped.
knowing I'm letting off at the minute anything pops off. Like that's the if I'm gonna carry an AR-15 in the public exposed, like that's not like concealed carry. Like, concealed carry, ain't nobody know I got my strap on me. That joint is just there as a just in case. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
sees it, nobody knows it's there. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
right,
intimidate
right.
anybody, scare anybody. But if I walk around with a butcher knife in my hand,
The
I mean
butcher coming.
that's a little different.
It's
You know what
different.
I'm saying?
Different.
Or
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, cats want to act
that's
like an
different.
AR. Listen, I get it. Legally, I've made the argument. Legally, you have a right to carry it. You have a right to go in public. Nobody can come at you. Here we have in Lancaster, one of the oldest markets in America. One of the oldest, like, town markets that you can go to. It's called the Central Market. Somebody was in there with an AR-15 walking around through the
Mm,
market just
mm.
because they could. You know what I'm saying? And I argue like, dude is allowed to do that. Like
Right,
he's legally able to do that. Don't make an argument against him unless you can argue legally. You know what I'm saying? Like leave him alone. Like he's
right.
able to do it. But at the same time, fam, if you carry an AR-15, you trying to say something. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality.
Hey, you trying to say something, fam? And if you not, then you don't. Then you don't need to be carrying it down.
It's just like the dude who walks around with a, super tight wife beater and it's like 60 degrees outside. You trying to say something. You trying to say you diesel and
Yeah,
you can give it to anybody. If
right,
you
bro.
carrying around the biggest gun in the crowd, then guess what you trying to say? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I'm sorry. It's just that simple.
Listen, man. I walked around with a wife beater on the other day. What do you think I was trying to say, Strap?
You the man of this house.
I walked around in the street. I
He was
tried to
like,
say
I'll eat you. I'll eat
stop
you.
stop body shaming. Listen, you know what? We go look. Here's the thing, bro. And you said it. I like that you said this. The issue, you just brought this up, and I think this is the crux of American versus biblical justice and morality. We look at things on if they're legal, but not if they're lawful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul said, look, all things are lawful, but not all things are profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
All things are this, but not all things build up, right? So that's the crux of it. It's we evaluate if it's legal and we think it's biblical, but legal isn't always biblical.
No,
Not
that's a
all
fact.
things are it may be lawful, you can do it, but not all things are beneficial.
I mean, we know that there's a lot of things that have been made legal within the last 10 years that aren't necessarily biblical.
Exactly. But
There's some
when it
things that are
comes to
blatantly not biblical.
right, but when it comes to like stuff in the amendment, again, it's constitutional, it's not biblical. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. It's like we're defending what's legal, and the Bible says now we should be aware of what's lawful.
Right.
Like, is this beneficial just because it's legal? And so
And,
it's
and
not
Christian,
beneficial, man.
and Christian, listen, I mean, people can try to change and manipulate God's word, but we know it's impossible, right? But with the
Yeah.
Constitution, they can manipulate the Constitution. You know
They
why?
call that on a living document, bro.
Because it's man made. It's
Right.
man made. So they can
Right.
manipulate it. And they
It's
have the right
mutable.
to do so.
Let's
Yes.
go back to seminary. God is
There you go.
immutable. The
Yes.
Constitution is mutable. That joint
Yes.
changes, and they can change it to
Yes.
fit whatever they think.
So
God's word is immutable.
don't bank your freedom on it. Don't bank your soul on it. It's
Mm-mm.
not worth it. Like America,
Yeah.
yes, as a nation, we've experienced a lot of great liberties because of America. A lot of amazing things that we'll continue to experience.
Mm-hmm.
But America is not home. It is not the Lord's place for you, Christian.
Nah.
Real rap.
I mean, just ask yourself, how often do you think about heaven?
Right.
Like, how often do you think about it? It is amazing to me how many Christians are afraid to die. When
Hmm.
Paul said to die is gain.
Right.
Now, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I got my sons. I got family. I got loved ones. I want to see them grow up. But I'm not going to be like, oh no, I don't. It's like, nah, Lord. If it's my time, like I want to be with the Lord too.
Right.
Like people always be like, man, don't you wish you could be like if you knew what you knew now 20 years ago? I was like, don't you wish you could be young again? I was like, nah. Like
Not
I
at
don't
all.
mind it. Like I'm all right. I want to be with the Lord, man. I'm not trying to. I want to
Amen.
be. I want to leave. I want to be away from the earth as it currently is.
Right.
I want to see the new heaven and new earth. I don't want to be in all this drama. All this stuff is just dumb to me.
Yeah.
In Revelation 7, that scene of every tribe, tongue, nation worshiping the Lamb, it's not going to be all Calvinists. It's not going to be all Armenians. It's not going to be all conservatives. It's not going to be all liberals. It's not going to be all charismatics. It's not going to be all people that speak English. It's going to be a
Hmm.
bunch of people who had different practical, functional ways of doing things, but are there because of the main thing.
They trusted
And
Jesus.
and
Yeah.
that's what's missing in the mindset of a lot of believers. So we're setting our minds on this kingdom, and that's why we're willing to fight. Because this
Amen.
kingdom, right? Matthew 11:12, the kingdom of heaven has been violent men have tried to take it, right? It's
Hmm.
always about being violent when you focus on this kingdom because this is where Satan is ruling.
And the
He's
violent take it by
violent.
force. Yeah.
The violent take it by force. We're doing the same thing. We're trying to take it by. Let me go ahead. Let me stop there, man, because that's that. Now I'm in the serial killer smiling pictures, and I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to make nobody upset. So, look, man, we appreciate y'all riding with us. We got so
Yes.
much more to say. Listen, if you liked it, even if you didn't like it, man, just hit the like button, subscribe, so
Just
you can
lie.
so
Even if you
just so
don't like
listen,
it,
man, listen,
lie.
fam. Even if you don't like it, just hit the subscribe button, just so you can keep not liking our content.
Word
We
up.
don't even care. Just hit the subscribe button, because if you don't, then we won't get love from the algorithm.
Hmm.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We got some content. We got a lot of stuff coming. Crazy, crazy stuff. I'm looking forward to this season. This is season 4, Cross Examine, the schemes of the devil. We're gonna get into all of the
Yes.
season. We got some stuff coming up. I'm looking forward to the next conversation,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to next. Next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Hum. Yeah, I might have to, might have to, I know y'all frying a turkey or something up there. I know
We
you
ain't
doing
frying it, but
something.
we listen. Our my parents, yeah, we have the best Thanksgiving meal in the world. I'm just gonna say that from the gate.
Save me a plate. Save a plate for your boy. You know what I'm saying? Might creep up there real quick, like strike. I'm outside.
You always welcome. You know that.
You know how that go. Listen, we appreciate y'all, Patreon supporters. We got y'all. We got stuff coming for
Yes.
y'all. We got some stuff coming. Thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for still supporting. I know we lost a couple of y'all, but we still feel like there's enough of y'all there. Consider supporting us on Patreon. We got some stuff that we're gonna be hitting them off with, and that could be you if you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/cross examine. Go there, give $1, give $5, give 500, whatever you want to do, whatever you do, we'll appreciate. Also, don't forget to get Note to Self by Chris Jones. Download that, buy that project. Strack is coming out with a banger soon. I'm coming out
Patreon
with Serial
supporters,
Killers.
y'all will get that joint first too. Warm ups precede the
Right.
workouts. Y'all will get that
Mm,
joint first.
mm-hmm. 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 We got all that. We got a lot of good stuff coming. We appreciate y'all making sure that y'all stay with us. Hit the subscribe button. hit the like, leave a comment, do all of that stuff. Even if you hate us,
Yes.
we will gladly hate you
Come
back.
on already.
Come on already. Having said that, I'm Kurt Kennedy. He's Strack the Wolverine, and we're out of here, y'all. Grace and peace.
Peace. Be
To
multiplicated.
the y'all know about that Michael McDonald. Y'all know about that Michael McDonald, boy. Y'all don't know about that Michael.